Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're coming to watch this channel, welcome. This is our channel, The Veterans View. It's going to give a veteran's perspective on issues in our First Nation community of Batchewana. Bonjour, bedasage nandejnakas megaze nondam boating donjaba. That was a greeting in my Ojibwe language. So again, thank you for joining us today. Today's discussion is going to be on the salaries of Chief and Council in Batchewana First Nation. I did a bit of research this morning and I went through various cities in Canada and find out what their mayor makes and what their council makes in some major cities in Canada. So I'm going to go through those. These numbers are approximate because I didn't want to give an exact number because those change, but this is an approximately what every mayor and council makes in some major cities in Canada. The population numbers I get from these cities was from the 2017 census, so that may be different, lower or higher. So that's just a disclaimer on some of the numbers here. This information, you can Google it. It's all public knowledge. It's all out there. So you can do your own research and come to your own conclusions. But let's start. So Batchewana First Nation, population less than 3,000 members. Our chief makes approximately $170,000 a year, tax-free. Our council members make approximately $55,000 tax-free. So let's start on the western part of the country and go to the Yukon. The mayor of the Yukon makes approximately $102,000, and each council member in the Yukon makes approximately $36,000 for a population of 44,000 people. We'll continue on the west coast and we'll drop down to Vancouver, BC. Population 675,218. The mayor there makes $178,000 and every council member makes $96,000. We'll move east and we'll go to Calgary, Alberta, where the population is approximately 136 million. The mayor makes approximately $208,000 and the council members make $117,000. We'll continue east and we'll go to Regina, Saskatchewan. Population 228,000 members. The mayor makes $144,000 and the councilors make $44,000. We'll continue. Winnipeg, Manitoba. Population 749,539. Mayor makes $198,000. Council members $44,000. Oh, correction. Council members $93,000. We'll continue to our province, Toronto. Toronto's mayor makes $202,000 before taxes. I got to add that these are before taxes. $202,000. And their council members make $120,000. Population, $2.93 million. Next, we're going to move to Montreal, Quebec. Population, 1.78 million. Their mayor there makes $162,000. And every council member there makes $52,000. Let's move a little closer to home. Sault Ste. Marie. Population, approximately 73,000 members. The mayor here makes $82,000. And every councilor makes $33,000. So those are just some cities, provinces, some big cities, some little cities. And you can see the difference in pay. We got to come into account that Our chief and council, they don't pay taxes. So you can go down the list on all these mayors of these major cities of millions of people. They make good money, but it's taxed. So can you tell me why our leadership should make more than some of the major cities in Canada? $170,000 to lead, less than $3,000. When some mayors, you can go to Toronto, making $202, add taxes, approximately $120,000, $130,000 for 2.93 million people. So it's a little bit discouraging, because my opinion is they don't deserve that kind of pay. You know, if they had any morals or integrity in what they're doing in leadership, they would make that sacrifice and look around Canada and realize that our leadership in our small, tiny community makes more than some of the major cities in this country. When their population, they make more than anybody in their community. You know, it's frustrating. You know, a lot of us should be upset with this, you know, because during COVID, this is when they decided to do this. You ask, what kind of work do they do to earn this money? Well, I'm going to give an example. You know, we've got a bunch of houses finally. We got a health center, you know, and our leadership says, this is what we brought. We brought this water treatment plant. We brought these houses. We brought these to you. You know, sadly, I think that's a smokescreen, because I don't believe they're on the phone every day with ministers or businesses or whatever trying to get these. What happens is the government, the federal government, finally goes, here, Batchewana First Nation, here's X number of houses. Here, Batchewana First Nation, here's your water treatment plant. And the figurehead in the leadership says to the community, hey, I brought this here. I brought the water treatment plant. I brought the houses here. You know, sadly, that's not how it works. The government finally just give us our houses. Finally just give us our health center. Finally just give us our water treatment plant. They're not doing no work behind the scenes for this. So I'll conclude this video. It's a short one, and just as memberships of this community, or anybody else watching this video, do you agree or disagree with what our leadership is making in Batchewana First Nation? The solution, I would come, you all need to take a pay cut. Period. If you had any just or good in what you're doing for this community, you need to make a sacrifice that is going to show this community you're doing something for the good, instead of profiting off the backs of your people. Sadly, that's what you think leadership is, filling your pockets for a minimum of attending 2 meetings a month. If you're making this kind of money, you should be working full-time in your community, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. You know, committing 100% to your portfolios, and give your constituents and your people an update quarterly on what you guys are doing for us in order to make this money. If you're working your butt off and you can show us what you're doing to make this type of money, then show us. Please enlighten us and tell us what you're doing, because nobody knows what's happening in this community. We bought a big expensive resort in Batchewana that was supposed to be turned into a drug and alcohol addiction center. You know, that's our biggest problem in our community, is drugs and addiction. Well, it's now 3 years and it's falling apart. Nothing has been done to do anything with this property. In my opinion, that building should be up and running. We have the money, we had the resources. would have been a perfect time during the COVID pandemic to fix up that place and get it up and operating. No, what's happening is they're waiting for the government money to say, here's the money. And then when it's finally finished, whoever's sitting in that chair can say, I brought the drug and alcohol facility here. I done it. But no, sadly it's the government finally just giving us the money, and they happen to be there. So membership of Batchewana First Nation, you need to reevaluate what kind of leaders you have sitting in your community representing you, because the general public thinks we're a fraud with making this types of money. Just go back to Toronto. The Toronto mayor makes $202,000 before taxes. Take taxes out of that, $130,000, $120,000. Council members, $120,000. And get this, these people are working full time for Toronto, $2.93 million. So I think it's wrong. I think something should be done. So I'm making this video because they can't censor this. The general public needs to know. Maybe there'll be some backlash and maybe there'll be some positive change, because you don't profit off the backs of your people. What you do is you make a sacrifice for your people. We all got these big pay raises in our community, leadership, but the everyday worker in our community, say O&M, operations and maintenance, you go into the city, these guys are making X number of dollars, more than our operation. Yes, we're a smaller community, but why is it our benefit of being tax-free is used against us in our own community? Oh, well, you work here, you make tax-free money, so we get to pay you less. As far as I know, that's a benefit being in Anishinaabe, is we get tax-free money for whatever we do in our community, and we should be paid as the same person in the city doing the same job, not less, because we don't pay taxes. Let's increase that a little and make our people happy. It's a benefit, not a hindrance, So again, I'd like to say Chimi Gwech for tuning into the channel. I'm sure I could have discussed a lot more on this, but I'm just happy to get this video out there. Maybe some people have some other opinions or are concerns, feel free to leave a comment. But I'd like to say, Chimi Gwech, stay vigilant, stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for watching.